morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Monday Night America, episode 29 in our 17th season. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out everything that's happening right there at ndbmedia.net. And hey, there's a lot of stuff going on the network. Check it out. We thank you for stopping by. It is Monday Night America. I am jazzed. It's 29 minutes, and I'm out of here. I am going to be going someplace. So I'll be out for a few days, and life will be okay. But beyond that, really excited about it. A lot of stuff going on in the world, and we're just going to get down to it. I don't have anything in my community corner to report on, and I don't have the birthday set up. That's what I blew. Darn it. So I have to make sure I get that for next time. I'm going to write a note on here. Birthdays. Announcements. If you have any announcements that you would like for us to announce, any events, any anniversaries, birthdays, please, by all means, let me know, and we'll go ahead and give them a shout out here on the network. Sorry, probably going to ruin everything. But thank you. It was a good week for dirty laundry. After an unwashed crystal-adorned sock once worn by Michael Jackson, the late pop superstar and alleged child abuser, sold at auction in France for $8,822. It's really an exceptional object, said auctioneer Aurore Lilly. Yeah, it is an exceptional object. Hey, Peter, thanks for stopping in, buddy. Did you buy the Michael Jackson sock? I'm just curious. It was. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. Glad you acknowledge. It was a good week for Romeo and Juliet. After an interfamily gun battle that broke out in Manaspano, Philippines, ended several hours later with both sides laying down their weapons and joyfully announcing the wedding of the two young family members whose surprise elopement had triggered the hostilities. I didn't think they still did that stuff. It was also a good week for Bloodsport, after beachgoers were treated to the spectacle of a hammerhead shark fighting a stingray in the sparkling blue-green waters off the coast of Panama City, Florida. Although the encounter ended without a clear winner, one witness called the experience really amazing. It was a bad week for Mr. Nibbles, after Denmark's Aalborg Zoo appealed for donations of small, unwanted domestic pets to help feed its large predators. The zoo specifically mentioned guinea pigs, rabbits, and chickens, but added that it will consider any healthy animal that needs to be given away for various reasons. No sock, but you do have the Thriller album. That's cool, Peter. That is good to know. It was a bad week for Morning Brews, after the makers of High Noon, a popular vodka seltzer, warned that some of its cans can be mislabeled as Celsius energy drinks. Citrus-flavored pick-me-ups often consumed as a coffee substitute. The FDA issued a recall notice, let salsa-chugging go-getters experience unintentional alcohol ingestion. And it was a bad week for kickoffs, after Georgia Rep. Mike Collins, announcing a run for the U.S. Senate, posted a campaign video online that ends with a rousing but misspelled slogan, "Georgia, let's ride!" A Collins spokesperson claimed the video was the handiwork of unidentified fans who meant well. Dude, just say, oops, we got it. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas. That's my morning pick-me-up for sure. Wow, I didn't know that. Only in America, the Los Angeles City Council has voted to prohibit the N-word and the C-word at public meetings and to ban repeat offenders from future meetings. The move is intended to improve the tone of the meetings, but some legal experts say it could violate speakers' First Amendment rights. Duh! Of course it is. See, this is the anal stuff. That might not be accepted there at the city council. This is the stuff that politicians of all ilk, A lot better, Peter, than skullduggery earlier today. This one was right on, though. I'm kidding because I was having a conversation with Peter, who's in the chat room, and I was trying to make my point, and the only word that cropped into my head was skullduggery, and it was not appropriate. But this one is correct. Politicians and their ilk, they know it's wrong, and for them to say that you're limited in what you can say, it's obviously, they're going to press it, they're going to take it through the courts, they're going to lose, and nothing's going to happen to them. But everyone else that had to fight for that has to expend money, and the politician expends nothing because they have the mechanism in place. This is BS, man. BS. And I'm glad this one, worked. First Amendment rights attorney Wayne Spindler, known for his use of offensive language at council meetings, has pledged to violate the ban and then, quote, file my $400 million lawsuit that I've already prepared. May I co-sign? I'll co-sign. I'll give you $40. I'm in. You can't do this. I know it's wrong to use foul language, but you show who you are when you use language. Because look, I have read in certain, it's not psychological ones, mind you, but there are reports and studies that I just don't have right now that supposedly people that swear the most, they're much better at what they do. Yeah, no, as evidenced by me. I swear, and I haven't gotten a lot of stuff done. But it's like what Mama said, you know who you are by those that you hang around with. It might be distasteful language, but I know too many that died for the rights of free speech. See, Liz? Yes. And I look, I know better. I do believe in someone who I admired a great deal, George Patton, that he would swear, but he would swear when he needed to make his point. That was it. He didn't swear all the time, but he did swear. But whatever. It's only in America. An elderly Chicago woman has been hit with a $233,439.90 water bill for a vacant property with no plumbing. How is that possible? Diane Carley, 82, inherited the building in 2017, and in 2024, despite its lack of plumbing, the city demanded she install a water meter. It subsequently billed her for 500,000 gallons she insists never flowed. They're going to put me in the grave with this, said Carly last week, after the water department agreed to waive only $25,000 in late fees. There it is. That wasn't a swear word, but hey, unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. There's a lot of news right now about the unmaking of Americans, taking away their citizenship. And this has been tried before in the United States history. The question is, how many people have lost their citizenship? Between 1907 and 1967, the government recorded about 22,000 denaturalizations. That's approximately 60 years. That's a lot. 22,000 divided by, it's 366 a year. That's crazy. Almost 367 if you round off. There's an estimate that there was another 121,000 U.S.-born citizens lost their nationality from 1945 to 1977. The Supreme Court pared back the government's citizen striping powers with a string of rulings in the 50s and 60s. The most significant being 1967 Afronym versus Rusk. In 1960, the State Department declared that Polish-born painter Béz Afronym had forfeited his U.S. citizenship by voting in a 1951 Israeli election. I, for one, folks, am against dual citizenship. It shouldn't be. Who are you loyal to? You are loyal to where you have your citizenship. But that's neither here nor there. The Supreme Court overturned that decision and much of the 1940 Nationality Act in 1967, ruling that the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause says simply that all American-born or naturalized Americans are U.S. citizens, a sentence that only the individual can renounce. Yes, once you renounce, it's, to get it back. Anyway, so the government is without power to rob a citizen of his citizenship, wrote Justice Hugo Black. Denaturalization numbers dropped after the ruling, with only a few cases filed each year. Now, there are ways to lose your citizenship. I've known it, knowing that I've assisted many people to apply for immigration over the years. And it's a falsehood, a criminal act, and you can lose your citizenship if you do stuff that's bad. And there's a listing of things. Lying. See, here's high crimes and misdemeanors. What is the genuine definition of high crimes and misdemeanors? That's for the presidential act where, they go against the president. And a high crime and misdemeanor, what is that? It has to be defined. Fraud, a lot of that stuff is criminal. So if you lie on an application, you can lose your citizenship. Now, what if it's an oversight? You made a mistake, but in effect, you did lie. Wow. Stuff has to be taken into consideration, but I do know that you have to get it right. And that's why you have to make sure everything is, the I's are crossed and the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. But there are other reasons why you can lose it. In these cases of denaturalized, people have done it for political beliefs as well. Communists, they've gone after them. And, they've also gone after people who have, well, actually, I shouldn't say have. They're trying to do this. Rep. Andy Ogles of Tennessee, Republican, has argued that Mamdani should be denaturalized for writing rap lyrics. That, he said, suggests support for Hamas. Okay. All right. Hamas is a terrorist organization. And under the Bush doctrine, if you're with us, you're with us. And if not, you're against us. If you are supporting a terrorist organization, geez, that's not really good. But when you say implies, it's either it does or it doesn't. It has to be straightforward. I guess we're going to leave that to a court of law. But regarding this case, immigration lawyers say such an argument is unlikely to succeed in court because in civil denaturalization causes, the government has to show clear, convincing, and unequivocal evidence, which does not leave the issue in doubt, which is kind of what I was talking about right now. So there's a lot of stuff, folks, that is going to be going on like now. If you are born in this country, even if you are an anchor baby, you are American by birth. That's been supported by numerous Supreme Court designations. But I bring it up because it's starting to happen right now, and you never know. You never know where it's going to go. I remember what's his face from Kentucky, the junior senator, the guy who's an optometrist, but he pulled out of the Doctors Association because he didn't want to pay his dues or whatever. But he talked about this whole thing of the anchor babies, and he made an interesting argument. And folks, I'm surprised that no one has gone forward with it, but the argument was that and I believe the argument is being fought over right now, and I really wish I could remember the entire argument. But the argument was clear, and so far he says it had not been litigated yet. Like, kind of did a little bit of researching myself. I went to the library. I didn't search the internet. Kind of nice. And I couldn't find anything on it. So I'm like, dudes, do something about it. I'm going to have to follow up because I do want to talk about that in the future. Anchor babies and adjudication. So I want to go back to what his argument was and see. At the time, I took it as having merit, but knowing that there have been several Supreme Court cases, I don't know. So it must be true if I read in the tabloids. Rescue workers in British Columbia who responded to reports of a camper in distress instead found an outdoorsman screeching his favorite songs. The crew sprang into action after a pair of hikers called 911 to say they heard repeated cries near a popular climbing spot. The rescuers sent ground teams and drones into the dense woods and soon found the source. A solo camper belting out the greatest hits of rock band Nickelback. He wasn't in trouble, said search manager Dwayne Tresnick, unless you count his singing. Whoa, that could have been me, man. I have no singing voice. I believe Peter, if he's still here with me, he was in choir. He will tell you I was not in choir. It must be true if I read it in the tabloids. A New Zealand cat has earned the nickname Leonardo da Pinche for his habit of stealing from neighbors. Leo, a 14-month-old Tonkinese, has brought home at least 150 pilfered items, said owner Helen North. Stuffed toys, loads of underpants and socks, gardening gloves, activewear, hats, she said. Everything, really. She tried several methods for curbing the cat's thievery, including leaving out clothes at home for him to steal, but it didn't work. He only wants stuff that he shouldn't have. Apparently he hasn't hasn't read the Ten Commandments. We all still sing together fine, Roger, even though we all didn't have a great voice. I appreciate that, Peter. It must be true if I read in the tabloids. An Argentine policeman captured naked in his yard by a Google Street View camera was awarded $12,500 in compensation for his bare buttocks being displayed on the internet. The images did not show the officer's face, but he said the very clear street address made him identifiable and led him to be ridiculed by colleagues and neighbors. A court agreed that the man's dignity had been compromised and ordered Google to pay up. No one wants to appear to the world as God created them, said the ruling. But where? Oh, Argentina. There was a supervisor that took home his truck from my employer. He was allowed. He had a take-home vehicle. But at one time, now they get to take it home all the time, which I believe they should not. And that is one of the first things that I'm going to go to war on when I start my 501c3 or whatever it is, my political action arm. Yeah, I got things to do. And number one is take home vehicles. No one should take home a vehicle in the state of California. I don't care who the hell you are. I don't care what you are. As a citizenry, you should contact your cities and your counties, and you should ask them how many vehicles are assigned as take-home vehicles. It will shock you. And then, which is what my agency is going to do, is we're going to seek proof of the use of the vehicles over the last 5 years. Since all this is digital, it's not that difficult to get a hold of. I know, as being an employee of the Department or or the county of Los Angeles that you are supposed to list everywhere you go every day, and putting various locations doesn't cut it. You have to detail where you went and what you did. And if you had emergency callouts and you used the vehicles in disasters. I am betting just on my account alone that of all the vehicles that were in my department, less than 5% were called out in the last 5 years. And yet they're allowed to take a vehicle home. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why? Why do they get to take a vehicle home? There's no reason why they should. You want to delay my check 2 months, you bastards? I'm the senior clerk. Anyway, this supervisor at the time was only able to take the vehicle home, and if you lived outside of LA County, you had to leave it at a county facility, which a lot of supervisors do and did. Now you can take it all the way home, which that's not fair. But again, there's no reason why they should be taking vehicles home. None whatsoever. It's to respond in case of emergency. Yeah, that doesn't fly. Oh yeah, I just said what I'm going to be doing in the next few months. So I don't care. This is something that's been on for a while, and I'm going to be doing it. And there's no reason why anyone, even the director, sorry, he has a vehicle that's assigned to him. There's no reason why the director should be taking it home. None whatsoever. So this supervisor took his vehicle home, and the Google car passed. And took a picture of the truck in the driveway. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you moron. But that supervisor's passed away. There's not much you can do now. But it was just absolutely unbelievable that this individual lived in Orange County. Now you can take the vehicle home, but there's so many people that have take-home vehicles. There's no reason why, and it's just a benefit. And it's management taking care of management. That's what it is. Because they will never be able to justify the entire cost of taking vehicles. So that is one of my first shots that I'm going to be going after. And I recommend everyone do that where you live, at least in California. They need to provide you that information. And they like to say, oh, well, there's a cost to getting you this information. That's Freedom of Information Act, pal. There are simple reports that just you have to press one button and you can get them. So I'll leave it to the senior clerk. Oh, hell yeah. This one's way too easy. Way too easy. There's just, I believe there are good people that have home assigned vehicles, but that doesn't mean anything. There's no reason why they should have them. None whatsoever. None. Absolutely none. And the vehicles should have GPS monitoring on them as well, which they don't. And they should. But if they do have a county phone. But anyway, I'm not vindictive. I'm out for saving money. So anyway, that's what should be done. That's a number one. I understand, genuinely, I understand the concept. I'm not dumb. I get it and why they have it, but it's never used for that purpose. If it were used for that purpose, that would be different, but it's not. And it's okay. So we're going to investigate. Do I sound like Renfield from Love at First Bite? Oh, 33 years. I've been waiting for this. So anyway, there are several things that I'm going to be working on in my political action committee. And number one is, actually, I have it in my day timer. But In California, if you sue someone, and let's call it small claims, if you sue someone and the person doesn't show up, you as a person, the plaintiff, automatically wins. If you sue someone as a defendant, obviously you're being sued, and you show up and the person suing you doesn't show up, you know what happens? The case is dismissed without prejudice, meaning they can do it again. Why? If you don't show up as a defendant, you automatically lose. So why is it that the plaintiff doesn't show up and the case is just dismissed without prejudice? That has to change. That's another thing that I'm going to be fighting for. Starting in, soon. I just haven't started the Political Action Committee. It is not fair. It is absolutely not fair for someone who just filed a lawsuit against you and then not show up. And you've expended everything. In Texas, there is something like that now, that you have to pay the fees. So, hey, California is a litigious state, no problem. All right, let's make it fair for everyone. I understand that if you file in Texas and you lose, you got to pay. I don't know if I want it to be that way, but seeing and hearing from people that I know that they've had actions taken against them and then they show up and the plaintiff doesn't, it should be at the very least dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot file that case again. But that's just a personal opinion. And there's going to be another thing that I'm going to be working on in my Political Action Committee, but I don't have my notes on that one right now. There's 3 primary things that I'm going to be working on. One of them is changing the law on that if the defendant shows up and the plaintiff doesn't, hey, it should be either they should be penalized, they should have to put up a bond, and or they should have to pay the fees for the defense. You can't just file and not show up. If you have a case, see it through. If not, you can drop it before, but you just leave the person hanging for 4 or 5 months. Not the way it should be. So, and the other one is take-home vehicles. I believe that if you remove take-home vehicles, you will be able to save money. Doesn't mean the employee can't do their job. It just means they have to drive into work like the rest of us and pay for it. So anyway, that's probably going to end my screed for now. I'm going to have some more ideas on my Political Action Committee. I had hinted about doing it, but I couldn't do it while I was still working. Now, I mean, I guess I could have, but that probably would not have gone well. But I do want to say that I am ending. I have to literally fly, and I'm going to do that now. So I want to thank everyone that stopped in. Appreciate it, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's program. I enjoyed being here. We'll see you next week. Sports Talk with the guys will be on Saturday. Check out everything that's happening on ndbmedia.net. We'll see you guys on the other